better all around. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so maybe I'll start over because I see it right now that it's going live. So, hey, okay, yeah, I think it's live now. So, hey everybody, my name is Tylen, and I represent the Uniswap Foundation. I am here to present to you a workshop about building on top of Uniswap. Want to wish everyone a good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are from whichever part of the world. I am the DevRel lead here, and today we've got a kind of a walkthrough of just to give you a walkthrough of what we'll be doing today. I'll be going over, what our charter is at the Uniswap Foundation for DevRel. I'll also be walking through what we do at the Uniswap Foundation and how we got started, and then we'll be going through the hacker resources that we have to help you hack and help you build as you're building throughout the Zero2Hero Hackathon. And then we'll also be going over a quick workshop on how to use the Uniswap v3 SDK to just fetch the instant spot price of a token swap pair. So there should be a lot of exciting and interesting things that we'll be going over today. And without further ado, let's get started. So here we are. Cool. As I mentioned, my name is Tylen. I'm the developer relations lead at the Uniswap Foundation. This is my contact information for any of the hackers here as you're hacking. And if you have any questions, I've already spoken to a few of you on Discord, but my Discord handle or my Twitter handle is oxtylen. So anywhere you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. This is also my email. So if you want to reach out through email or Discord or Twitter, whichever one's best for you, I'm open on all forms of communication and happy to talk. So our mission at the DevRel side of the Uniswap Foundation is to fuel creativity and cultivate a community of empowered and influential developers who are shaping the future of technology. Uniswap has done so much in the crypto space to do just this, but for the DeFi ecosystem. And we believe that the developers that are building on top of Uniswap will also have the same opportunity to push Uniswap and Ethereum even further by doing this, by developing on top of our protocol. So let me see here real quick if I have what's next. Okay, cool. Yeah, so the Uniswap Foundation was founded actually in summer of 2022. Sorry guys, give me a second. I think my dog is trying to. Sweet. Sorry guys. If you guys have a dog, my dog is just now waking up and she wants to go out for a walk. So I just had to let her out and tell the wife to do that. Cool. So yeah, the Uniswap Foundation was actually founded last year in the summer of 2022. We were founded through a governance vote. And through that, our charter was to provide funding and grants and resources to the Uniswap and overall the DeFi ecosystem so that we could push DeFi forward. So there's actually a clear delineation between the Uniswap Foundation and Uniswap Labs, as you all may probably know, which is the front end, the swapping mechanism, providing liquidity, and all of the fun and exciting features that we know Uniswap Labs for. Then on the other side, we have the Uniswap Foundations, which is what I represent. And here okay, I see the video quality is bad. Is that on my side? Here we go. Okay, this should be better. Okay, so on my side, what we represent is the Uniswap Foundation, and we give out grants to people who are building exciting and interesting projects on top of the Uniswap protocol. This is why hackathons like this are so exciting for us. We really look to work with our hackers and have been throughout this year working with our hackers. If they have exciting projects, we do tend to push them towards getting grants, and we will fund grants for some of our hackathon participants You don't have to be necessarily a bounty winner. Even if you have an exciting project, we will still try to connect and work with you afterwards so that we can see, if you want to keep pushing your project forward, we're happy to help support. We also actively participate in governance for the Uniswap protocol. With the governance side, deploying to one easy governance example was us actually passing the vote to deploy on the Binance Smart Chain. And with that, we passed that vote. And because of that, we're here today looking to grow more into the Binance ecosystem because we passed the vote to do so within this chain. We also really focus on the developer ecosystem and how do we make it easier for developers to hack and build on top of Uniswap. It's really important for us that the ecosystem grows because DeFi is super powerful and it touches a lot of things within crypto. And because of that, we want to make sure that our developer experience is one of the best in all industries, not just within crypto. So, as you're hacking, we do have a lot of feedback portals where we do look for your feedback so that we can improve the overall hacker experience and the developer experience. And then the last part is we're focused on the overall protocol growth and the maintenance of the Uniswap protocols as they evolve and as they grow and as they are. We're really looking to make sure that we keep pushing the edge of what's possible within crypto and DeFi, and that we keep creating the types of experiences that we've been known to create. And yeah, so this is why the Uniswap Foundation was created, and it kind of is the emphasis on pushing DeFi forward, pushing Uniswap forward on the protocol side. And if you want more information, you can check out our website. Over there, you can find out our past grant recipients. You can find out ways on how to actually get a grant within Uniswap. And then you can also find out how, to build on top of Uniswap. We've got great developer resources. You can see what events we're attending, what future hackathons we're doing. And that way you're able to be, caught up to speed and hopefully learn a lot about crypto rather easily and participate with us. So when we look at the resources that we have for hackers, we actually just launched our website this month, our new Uniswap Foundation website. And within that website, we have our new hacker homepage. And I'll actually take you guys to our hacker homepage here so that you can see what you could be using to help you build as you're going through this hackathon. If you're totally new to crypto, I think there are great resources for you to get started here. If you're already familiar with crypto, there are also great resources here for people that are a bit more intermediate or advanced. If you're totally new to DeFi, same here. If you have previous experience, we've got resources to help you build. We start off with a simple just building on Uniswap v3 from scratch video from one of our community developers. He creates great resources, and I would highly recommend just watching through some of his videos if it's your first time going through Uniswap. In addition, we've got a lot of resources to help you learn. We've got grant recipients who've created who've created learning resources for you so that you can start building on top of Uniswap. We've got our V3 SDK docs that are pretty detailed and full of use cases and examples that you could start tinkering with on GitHub so that you can get caught up to speed. And just a lot of resources for people that want to get started learning and are hacking and don't have maybe 2-3 weeks to learn, but want to get a concept rather quickly, because I know in hackathons, well, actually in this case, in this hackathon, you guys have quite a while to learn things. So maybe hop on some of the longer learning resources. But yeah, this was meant to give you a quick and easy way to start getting started with Uniswap so that you can start getting started with building your projects. We've got all of our different GitHubs here. Also, if you actually want to, if you're more comfortable with building in different languages and they might not be available on the Uniswap v3 SDK, we do have a team that we partner with called Polywrap, which helps us build Uniswap in tons of different languages. And they're basically a wrapper around the Uniswap v3 SDK. And, getting started with them and calling all the functions you need is really, really easy. And I think that it's suited really well for hackathons. so that you don't have to necessarily dive into all the nitty-gritty if you don't want to on a short amount of time. You can just use Polywrap, and then you can start building out your apps rather easily by integrating their systems. We've also got our Uniswap developer documents. And if you're interested in just our hackathons and what we'll be doing throughout the year, this is all of the hackathons we'll be attending this year. So if you've got your project and you've built on Uniswap during the Zero2Hero Hackathon, you can go to all these different ones and keep building your project and interacting with us in live too if you'll be at these events. The last thing I want to share is we do look for feedback on the hacking experience. Within our website, there's a feedback portal where we really do want to get your thoughts on the whole hacking experience. Doesn't necessarily have to be Uniswap specific. If it is, great. But if you've just got things that you wish you could, if it's, I'm totally new to this space, I don't feel like there are enough resources for me getting started regardless of Uniswap, we want to hear that. We want to make sure that the hackathon experience is great for all hackers, and this is your way to kind of get connected with us so that we can give you like immediate ways to improve the overall experience. So I'm going to share the link to the feedback portal here in the, well, I don't even think I can comment, but you guys can go to the website and you can check out the link. I'll probably try to share some of this on my Twitter and my Uniswap, our Uniswap Foundation profile, so that you can start sharing your experience. So let's get back to our presentation. Cool. So this was kind of an overview of the Uniswap Foundation and how we help out hackers and what we're doing. Now let's get into the fun technical part. So using the Uniswap v3 SDK, what will we be going over today? Today, we're going to go through a pretty simple part of the SDK, but I feel like it's one that is all encompassing on how to use the different parts of Uniswap. It allows you to interact with certain Uniswap smart contracts. It allows you to use, native crypto tech that maybe people aren't too familiar with. If you are, this may seem like a breeze to all of you. But it gets involved with using Infura, using Etherscan, Ethers.js, and all of that, just so that we can interact with the Uniswap smart contract to get the live spot price of a piece of, a live spot price of a Uniswap pool. And we have these docs here that I can also share with you guys in Discord if you're curious. It's not on our main Uniswap developer docs page, but this is kind of a walkthrough of how you would fetch the spot prices. We'll be going over this throughout this workshop, but if you want to go through it, live and step by step, we've laid out all the steps here for getting started, and it's a pretty well documented piece of documentation that you all could use. And if you're running into any issues with Uniswap, I would recommend using this document, as I've helped hackers in the past overcome issues just by going through the basics of this doc. Because right now, in some aspects of the documentation on the official one, it might not be as up to date. This is the most up to date on the document side. So I would highly recommend anyone having any issues, one, reach out to me, or two, start going through this doc so that you can start understanding how things work. And it should work. All the items you need should work just by following this doc. So let's get started with understanding how to fetch the live spot prices of a Uniswap v3 pool. So before you get started actually running the code, you'll need to do some housekeeping before we get going. You'll need to set up your provider and your Etherscan API key. You just get your API keys by signing into Infura. If you guys have never signed up to Infura, it's rather easy. You go to the Infura website and then you just sign up there and you get their API key, and you'll get the one that's I believe it's for Ethereum. And there are some testnet ones too that you can pull so that it's made easier. But I think here I'm just doing the live Ethereum one because all we're doing is just reading data. We're not changing anything. So you can do that to get the live price of a Uniswap v3 pool. You can also then go to Etherscan so that you can get your Etherscan API key, and there are documents all over this on the Infura and Etherscan website on how to get their API keys. I've also included this in my documentation as well. Once you have your Infura URL, you'll create a provider that will be used as we're looking to pull information from pools. We'll be using this provider to kind of be our communication point to actually get the information we need. And as you can see, when we're creating this provider, we're calling ethers to actually communicate with the blockchain to do all of the things that we need to do. So once we've gotten the provider, we can now start interacting with the pool that we'll be doing today is the wrap BTC/ETH pool. So we'll be getting the price of 1 BTC in terms of ETH. And what we'll be doing is after we have the provider, we're going to get the actual pool addresses and the quoter address of this specific Uniswap V3 pool. Now, you can find all of the pool addresses just by going to the Uniswap website. And let me show you actually how to do that as well. So if there's ever a pool that you're interested in, let's go here. And then we'll go to pools. Cool. So let me go here. So if there's ever a pool that you're interested in learning more about in Uniswap and just doing creative things, the easiest way to find the pool address is if you go here, and I just noticed it's not sharing the URL, but within the URL side, you can go to this info.uniswap.org website, and with whichever pool you want to get the information from, in the actual tab or in the URL, the last part of the URL, which is the 0x, etc., shows you the pool contract. So that is what you would use to pull in to get the information for the specific pool. So just by going to this website, if you want to, instead of doing the wrap BTC/ETH, you want to do DAI/USDC, you can actually find the pool contract address on the URL. And then with that, you'll be able to pull the information and just replace that with what we're doing now so that you can get your spot pricing for that specific pairing. So, with that now, let's go here. So here we'll pull the pool address from the URL, and this is the quoter address, which is a Uniswap contract that we've launched, which helps with pulling spot pricing. And that never changes. So you'll always just pull this one in. So once we've gotten these two addresses within our code, we'll then start creating our get price function. What our get price function does is it takes in an input amount, what is the actual, if I want, what is the spot price for the amount of the input that I want to see swap? So is it 1 BTC to ETH? How much is that? Is it 2 BTC, 3, 4? This adapts based on all of that. So you have your input amount, and then you'll actually start by creating a pool contract variable. So this pool contract variable basically uses ethers to call the contract. And what we're doing with this contract is first we're getting the address so that we can find where this contract is. And then we're getting the ABIs for this pool contract. They should all be, they use this Uniswap V3 pool ABI, which because all of our contracts are deployed using our factory contract, they're all the same. They all have the same ABIs. So it makes interacting with them very easy. So then we'll call this, which we just import right here from our Uniswap V3 SDK. Same with our quoter ABI, which we'll be using later. And then we'll put in our provider as well, which allows us to communicate with the blockchain. So with this, we now have this pool contract that we've created. And now we can actually start interacting with the live contract on the blockchain through our code. And what we can do is we can simply go to this pool contract And if we know the ABIs, and there are different documentations as well that show that, you can also go on Etherscan, and Etherscan does a great job of showing you the functions that you can do within. Let me actually see if I can pull that up too for you guys. Well, we might not have time, but within Etherscan, there's this, you can actually put in the contract you want, and it will show you the ABIs for this contract and the functions that you could do to call it. If you guys have more questions about that and how to actually access that, just let me know, and I'm happy to walk through that as well, or show you how to find all that information on Etherscan. But within this, we're calling the pool contract to get each of our token addresses for token 0 and token 1, which is wrap BTC and which is ETH. So once we do that, we're going to want to create a whole separate new file within our code base that's called a helper file. And what we'll be doing there is we're going to be creating a function that's called get ABI. So this recent token addresses that we just pulled, we're going to want to get their ABIs as well, because we can't do everything we need off of just the pool contract. We'll also need to get the specific BTC and ETH contracts and get ABIs from there that will help us do what we need to. Specifically, we need to get the amount of decimals that each of these tokens has so that we can calculate our instant spot price rather easily. So we're going to use this function, which just we'll pass in the URL of Etherscan that will go, and whatever address we're providing, as you can see, it's kind of cut off here, but whatever address we're providing, we're going to get their ABIs, and then we're going to return that ABI as a response. Now, what we'll be doing here is we're going to be getting the wrap BTC and ETH ABIs, as we mentioned before. And these ABIs will help us calculate our spot price easier. So we call the get ABI function for each of these tokens. Once we have the ABIs, we'll then create new contracts using ethers, or new ways to interact with a contract using ethers based on what we were doing previously with our pool contract. So this should look very familiar to you already. We're going to be using our wrap BTC. We're going to be then taking the wrap BTC ABI, and then we'll be using our same provider that we created using Infura and Ethers earlier. And now we have easier ways to interact directly with that contract and call the functions we need through our code just by using these variables for token contract 0 and token contract 1. In hindsight, I'm looking, maybe I can do this as token wrap BTC, token ETH next time, so that it's easier to follow and not just be zeros and ones. Cool. So now that we have that information and we can call the smart contracts of these tokens directly, we'll be able to get the additional information we need to get our spot price. So here we pull in the symbols for each of these tokens. This is just to make it easier to output what we need. So that way, in your output, or if you're developing on your front end code, you could do 1 BTC equals X amount of ETH. So this is more for stylistic points. There are also different things you can pull from this contract to help make the layout of your app a lot nicer. So again, I would look into Etherscan as well, just to see the different ABIs that you can do to do this. And then we'll need the decimals. These decimals vary from token to token. So what is a decimal? Or what are decimals? Well, each token has, a certain amount. If you're new to crypto or new to DeFi, each of these tokens, it isn't just 1 BTC, it's 1 times 10 to the 8th or something, or 10 to the power of 8, or 10 to the power of 18 on how it's calculated computer-wise. So it's not as simple, it's not as simple as just pulling out 1 wrap BTC and the computer knows what you're talking about. We need to do some formatting there so that the actual prices can match up. And that's why we need to get these decimals, because it allows us to format each of these tokens in the way that they need to be so that they can communicate with one another. So here we're getting the decimals for wrap BTC and the decimals for ETH, and then we'll use that to calculate what we need later on. So if you're following along, we've gotten our pool contract created. We've gotten our ABIs pulled in for the tokens that we need. We've pulled in the pool information that we've pulled in some pool information that we need, but not all of it. And we've pulled in some token information that we need, like the token symbols and the token decimals from the specific token contracts, which we've gotten these token addresses directly from the pool contract. So we've gotten these token addresses from the pool contract, and that's made it easy to get all the token information we need. Well, now there are certain pool immutables that we're going to need as well, so that we can create our function to call spot pricing. So these pool immutables come directly from the pool contract. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our helper file, and we're going to start creating what these pool immutables should look like. And what we're going to be getting is we're going to be getting the first token, which is token 0, the wrap BTC. We're going to be getting ETH, and we're also going to be getting the fee on the actual Uniswap v3 pool. And then we're going to return these immutables, and we're going to use them later in our get price function. And I'll show you how we're going to do that to actually calculate the spot price. So this will be our helper function. We're going to pass in our pool contract. Again, this can be for any pool contract. Doesn't just have to be wrap BTC and ETH. Any pool contract that we can find on the Uniswap pools, on uniswap.info and on their pools, and pulling their pool contract from the URL. We're able to plug in that pool address, get their immutables, and do what we need to do here. So what we do is we pass in our pool contract that we've created earlier, which is right here. So it should be at the very top of the get price function, and we'll get this pool contract, and then we're going to pass it into our pool immutable so that we can return our token 0, token 1, and the fee of the Uniswap v3 pool. So Uniswap v3 has, I think, about 3 fees that let me see here if I can show you. Uniswap v3 has 3 fees that someone can pull in, or that Uniswap v3 pools have 3 different fees that are used whenever people are providing liquidity and doing all the things they need. So, so you have different amounts of fees based on the pool that you're pulling from, and this is what helps makes the contract. This is what helps make the contract price more accurate. So I actually couldn't pull up the fees. That's what I was trying to do. But the pool contract then gets put into there. We get all the information we need. And then now that we have all the info we need, we can start doing the magic, which is actually converting and calculating all the values that we want. So we are going to pass in an amount in that we want to see what we want to see the live spot price in exchange for the other part of the pool. So in this case, we want to see if we had 1 wrap BTC in, how much can we, or BTC, how much can we get in exchange in ETH for that? So as we mentioned before, this is where these decimals help us understand what we need. So these decimals help us get an accurate number for 1 wrap BTC. And as we had mentioned before, each token has a different amount of corresponding decimals with it. So 1 wrap BTC has 8 decimals, 1 ETH has 18 decimals. So this is what their numbers look like in code. So we need to actually change this in our this will be used to format our tokens a lot more better. And then we will pass all of this information in to get our quoted amount out. And I see someone asked for the Discord. I'll go back to the top of the presentation, and at the end of this, I'll also share where you can reach out to me. So we have our quoted amount out then. And this is where we'll actually be using our quoter contract that we had pulled in way earlier at the very beginning of our code. We had our quoter contract, and there we'll be using it to quote, the exact single output of a swap here. So here we've taken our immutables that we pulled from our contract. We'll get wrap BTC, we'll get ETH, we'll get the fees, and then we'll also get the amount that we want swapped. So this is the token decimals amount in of 1 wrap BTC. And then when we do all of this, we'll finally just format it so that it has the proper amount of decimals spit out. So we're getting the quoted amount out will be in ETH. So in order to format it, we need to pass in the quoted decimal amount, or else you're just going to get this huge number and you'll be like, what the heck is this? So this helps format it a lot easier. And then this should spit out the formatted, nicely made amount out for a live spot price. So if we look at our code, you can use this to console log it. We want to get the price of 1 wrap BTC for ETH. We can then call our file where all of this code is existed, and voila. This should be our output where it tells us the live spot price of 1 wrap BTC for ETH on the Uniswap pool. So as you can see here, I don't know when this was, or if, this was, I made this a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know if this price is still accurate, but at that time, 1 wrap BTC could be swapped for 13 wrapped ETH. So, to just go over what we did, we used Ethers and Infura and the Uniswap v3 SDK to look at a pool contract within Uniswap. And then with that, we were able to do a lot of fun technical stuff to actually pull in the live spot price for that pool's pairing so that we can understand how much each pairing could be swapped for within that pool. So now comes the fun stuff. Why are we doing this hackathon? Well, we're doing this hackathon because, as we had talked before earlier, we have done a launch of Uniswap on the Binance Smart Chain that went through our governance portal, and with that we launched on Uniswap, and now we need people like you and more hackers to build out more things on the ecosystem for the Binance Smart Chain. And with that, we have 2 bounties, and each of these bounties has a prize. So when I had mentioned right here above each bounty, we have a first, second, and third place prize for each of these bounties. So we're giving away 10,000 in bounties in total. Our first place prize will receive $2,000, and $2,000 will go to both bounty 1 and 2. So that's 4,000 there. And then we have a second place prize, which will have 2 second place prizes that will get $1,000 each. And then we have third, which will get $500 each for each prize. So in total, we're giving out 10 prizes within the Zero2Hero Hackathon. And our first bounty is related to, just overall ecosystem growth of the Uniswap v3, or, really anything on Uniswap within the Binance Smart Chain. I'll add that too. But the v3 is what, makes what is kind of the major innovation right now, especially with concentrated liquidity. If you guys have more questions around concentrated liquidity, I'm happy to answer that as well. But we want to see a lot more tools for the Binance Smart Chain that maybe we have built out on other ecosystems quite heavily that we don't have on Binance right now. So if these are things that allow people to leverage Uniswap v3's capabilities on Binance Smart Chain, different kinds of liquidity management tools, different kinds of swapping integrations into Binance, into popular Binance applications, building educational resources to onboard new users, creating incentives and yield farming opportunities that encourage liquidity providers to build on to support Uniswap v3 on BSC. So there's a lot there that I think hackers can have a lot of fun with. And then the second one that's a little bit more fun and a little bit more specific is, dual chain arbitrage and AMM strategies. So, what are different kinds of algorithms that people can create, different types of opportunities that people can build on top of Uniswap v3 to make it super attractive for people building in the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. This is, I think this bounty is more for people that are maybe a little bit more like, have a little bit more finance or DeFi focused elements to them. There's also lots of really good tutorials on the hacker homepage on just how to do parts of these. There's like some flash swap loan videos. And I think that with that, there's probably ways that you can incentivize people outside of just the normal swapping mechanisms to build out really cool projects so that more people can onboard onto the Binance Smart Chain and the Uniswap V3 protocol in general. So with that, my workshop is kind of done right now. I wanted to leave 10 minutes for questions if we had any, and I saw that someone had asked for the contact information. So I'll go back to the top. This is my contact info. If you want to reach out to me on Discord or Twitter, it's 0xTylan. And I'm happy to answer any questions or talk to you more about this workshop too. If you had any other questions around this, uh, what we went through today was a pretty simple way to interact with Uniswap, but I think it's a good way to get started. And especially if you're new to crypto, not just DeFi, if you're new to all of it, it's a great way to start seeing like what is Infura, what is Etherscan, what are ABIs, how do I interact with smart contracts, how do I pull them. Uh, all of those things are super prominent in crypto, and this is a great way to get just started and involved with all of that. So I'm happy to help you as you're building this, and happy to just brainstorm ideas with you guys if you need. So I want to say thank you to the Zero2Hero and Binance team for letting me do this and being so putting on such a great event. So thank you guys, and yeah, open for any questions, which I know I cannot necessarily hear you guys live, but I can read your comments here and answer the questions. I think that the bounty, I think that would be great for our first bounty. For our first bounty, or I would tweak our second. Yeah, that would be a good one for our first bounty, for sure. So if you have any solutions to do that, then please apply that way. Um, yeah, thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. I don't even know how many people were watching this, but I feel like if you guys did have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at on Discord or Twitter. I'm pretty active on both. I'm also just super excited to see what you guys are going to build. That's probably the most fun part of these hackathons, and also learning about y'all's background. So you guys kind of know a little bit about mine, but understanding how you got into crypto is always fun. I got in really in 2017, and then really a big basketball fan. So when NBA Top Shot came out, the crypto side of me got really excited, and here we are today. Now we're talking about DeFi. So interested also if you guys want to share your stories on how you got started. By connecting, would love to talk about that as well. Awesome. Thank you, team. Cool. So let me see with the team. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Hello guys. Let's welcome Nick from Y-inch team. Nick, are you able to share your slides here?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I think I can start if everyone is ready.
Yep, I think you can
So
start.
let me just make a small recap. So my name is Nick. I am backend team lead. I'm at 1inch almost since the beginning of the 1inch network. I want firstly to tell a bit about 1inch. Maybe somebody didn't know about this project yet. So actually 1inch started on Ethereum New York Hackathon at 2019. And since that moment, 1inch have about 3 million total users, about 55 billions of dollars of total available liquidity that was swapped through 1inch. And also we do have about 70% aggregation market share. This percent is varies, depends on the month, but in successful months, we do have about 70%. So currently 1inch is one of the leading DeFi projects on the market. Right now, 1inch do have multiple protocols and features available for users. Right now, the most popular one and the most famous one is actually aggregation protocol. That's how 1inch is defined and was defined before as 1inch aggregator. We do also have 1inch limit order protocol that actually works quite interesting and allows users to create off-chain transactions that will be gasless for the users, but not gasless for the market takers. We do have 1inch Fusion right now. It's quite interesting combination of aggregation protocol and limit order protocol. And the main talk will be mostly about 1inch Fusion. Also, we do have a 1inch wallet. It's a DeFi non-custodial wallet available on multiple platforms like iOS and Android. And we do also have a 1inch prop. Currently, it's a solution for big institutionals. It's completely licensed and allows to work with on the completely transparent legal base for everyone who have high concerns about legal. So currently, it's a list of these protocols. I want to focus on aggregation protocol a bit. And before we will try to talk about 1inch Fusion, it's quite important to understand what is aggregation protocol firstly. So we already do have protocols like Uniswap, like PancakeSwap, and they do provide quite good solutions for swapping tokens to any other tokens. But there is a small issue. Sometimes there is not enough liquidity in case of a really large swap. And in this case, the main idea that you need to do if you want to have low slippage during these trades is that you need to split your swap into multiple small amounts and try to use multiple dexes at the same time. So you will actually try to have the lowest possible slippage in multiple pools at the same time. It's quite hard if you will try to do it manually by hands, because it's quite hard to make the one transaction to use multiple transactions at the same time. So you need to batch all of that inside one transaction. That's actually how 1inch works. The main idea of the aggregation protocol is that we just have a small a router that splits entry amount into multiple small subparts and swap them across multiple dexes inside one atomic transaction. So it will be pretty the same experience for the user as Uniswap, but actually under the hood, we will try to find the best rates across multiple dexes. It's quite basic things right now, but it works not very trivial. If you want to use aggregation protocol, there are two options how you can make it. We do have a completely free API on our website, and you are welcome to use it if you want. There are two basic things that you need to use here. It's a handle that you use for quotes. Basically, it returns the return rate for the specific designed amount. For example, you want to swap 1,000 DAI to some amount of wrapped BNB. And in case you will firstly use quote handle to understand the return rate for the wrapped BNB that you will get. If you will be okay with this return rate, you need to use another handle that's called the swap. It will create a call data that you need to pass into 1inch router contract. inside transaction with the funds that you need to pass as well. And basically, when you actually build this data, you need to send it to the blockchain as a transaction and basically to the validation router. And only after that, the transaction will be executed. So you need to do some work before you will go on chain in that case. So basically, it's quite easy to get started with that. You just need two handles. You can use the core code on the presentation below just to go to the Vantage docs, or you can just go to vantage.io and find the documentation tab. We do have a pretty good documentation about and Swagger about all the protocols that we do have. Aggregation protocol is quite simple, but sometimes we need some more advanced features. I will try to skip some things about aggregation protocols parameters because I think it's not really important right now. I want to concentrate on the logic that actually we can split multiple parts. We can split like any token to some small parts and exchange it to get the maximum return. You can specify these parts, but it's not actually critical right now. The main problem that we need to solve as well is actually to provide features like limit order protocol, like limit orders on the classical DEXs. The main problem that we do have with limit orders is basically that it's quite hard to specify the target price for the exchange return in the DeFi right now. So for that, we do have a limit order protocol. It's not only actually allows you to specify the target price, we do have additional features like additional execution. We do have dynamic pricing. We do have RFQ orders, and it can be used as P2P. And it can be used as auction. So basically how it works, there are two parties here. It's a market maker party and market taker party. The market maker, basically, it's a user, it's a person who will create an order. And the only things that user needs to do is basically just create an order. It's just a JSON structure. It's quite simple. And after that, you just need to sign the structure that you are okay to like make an order like that. And after that, it just needs to be shared via Vantage limit order API or via P2P like network. That's it. Basically, user don't need to pay any gas for execution of this transaction. On other side, there is a market taker. It's any party that wants to participate into resolving Vantage limit orders, basically. It can be, anyone can actually participate into resolving these limit orders. And the only thing that you need actually just get access to the API. It's available on the website right now. If you will find some limit order that is suitable for you to fill, basically you just need to call limit order smart contract with providing the data about this limit order and setting the assets that you need to be that are needed for the execution. In case of market taker, basically you need to pay for the limit order. So basically there is a small issue if you're actually not expecting that. For example, the basic example in this case is that you need to calculate the gas price and fill limit order only in the case when it will be profitable for you. So basically, because of that, when you specify limit order on the market price condition, that will be very close to the market. It will not be executed momentarily because you need to add a specific gap for the gas price to be executed in the same time. That's a small difference between how limit order works in case of the centralized exchanges and decentralized world like Vantage DeFi protocol. Because in our case, there is no any guarantee that limit order will be executed. It can be executed randomly, depends on actually the market and market takers and their will. Usually when the market price is up to the real in the limit order, it will be executed. But there is a logic how it works. It's quite simple. So we just share limit orders through some storage, and anyone can search across the storage and execute limit orders that can be profitable for takers. So there is actually an open market where people can earn on filling limit orders, and users can get pretty good offers compared to the market's price right now. You can be protected from the slippage in this case because you specify the target price and it can go down in your case, but you will need to wait for some time. And it can be a lot of time, basically. That's quite a big problem sometimes. So what is the problem that you want to solve with Vantage Fusion? Let's imagine that you want to actually sell some tokens with the best possible price, with the market price, but you want to be more advanced in this case. You're okay to wait for a small amount of time. It's not very important for you to wait for like only 1 second in this case. The problem that we do have with the market sell using aggregation protocol is basically that everyone who is trying to resolve your order, they only have about a couple of seconds to prepare the liquidity for this order. It's quite impossible to do it another way because it's atomic transaction. It must be executed in the next block, and that's it. If you're talking about limit order, it's quite complicated as well because if the target price is not okay, there is no any option to change it because it's specified it's just fixed. What if you will try to make something like a fusion of these ideas? If you will try to make sell to market, it will try to change this price a bit smoothly, so this price will be going down until it will be completely filled. In case of the fusion limit order, the price will be going like up to a couple of percent lower each couple of seconds, for example, and everyone who is participating in this auction actually will be will be happy because the person who needs to sell on the market will actually get the best price possible, and the resolvers, they can arbitrage using this. Actually, they can earn some profits trying to fill such orders. So that's actually how Vantage Fusion works. It's basically price auction when users trying to sell some tokens with firstly with pretty high rate, and this rate going down depends on the time. And there are multiple parties. They are called resolvers. They're trying to participate to resolve this limit order, like to resolve these orders. Depends on their price, depends on the moment of the auction. It's quite interesting because in that case, there is no one atomic transaction when everything is executed. There are multiple transactions step by step. It's basically completely like limit order, but the price is changing during the specific price intervals for minimum and maximum amounts. That's why we call it fusion, basically. It's like advanced market sell if you'll try to compare it to something like centralized exchanges that will try to sell, but with some small conditions at the same time. If the price will go down too much, it will be not selling your tokens. So currently, Vantage Fusion is already integrated in the production of Vantage. You can take a look or try it. The main difference here is that it's basically completely the same user experience as it was before. It's almost like the one on-chain transaction. Sometimes it takes a bit more, but at the same time, it provides multiple additional features. Basically, right now, we do have gasless execution for the market sell. We do have NIF protection for all users, and we do have almost limitless liquidity. I want to explain why it's quite, I think it's one of the best options right now on the market to integrate Vantage Fusion for any app that is providing token-to-token feature for swapping. Let's start from the gasless execution. So basically, as I told before, if you are talking about gasless execution, Fusion is basically looks like limit orders. So user just creates some off-chain transaction, off-chain data, and sends it to the storage. And in that case, it's also limit order storage. So basically, user don't need to pay any gas in this case. But one important thing that, as I said before as well, if user do not pay, even if user is not paying the gas fees, that doesn't mean that these gas fees are not included into the price at all. Basically, they must be included into the exchange rate. So the exchange rate will be a bit worse comparing to the market rate if you will forget about gas fees. need to pay for the gas fees doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They will never disappear. It doesn't matter how you will pay. In case of Fusion, you will pay by price. It can be changed a bit. Sometimes it's even better because the market price goes up and down. In some cases, it goes in your favor. In that case, you even is not paying for the gas fees at all. But usually, it makes the situation a bit worse in imperfect conditions. That's basically how everything works. We just send all the orders for the Fusion to the blockchain from the Fusion API, and in this party, the resolvers actually participate. So after you send your orders to some storage, they are trying to resolve the orders using this storage. In case of the myth protection, we do have quite basic explanation for that. If you don't do any on-chain activity, it's quite impossible to have any attack on the user side, because basically there is no possibility to do anything on-chain for the user. So that's why any user who is using Managed Fusion is protected by default. But there is a small problem, because any resolver, any party who is trying to actually resolve these limit orders for the user, they are not protected from MIF. And in this case, resolvers need to use something else to be protected. It can be something like flashbots or something else. And let's talk a bit about limitless liquidity option, why it actually looks like that. The main reason is that because it's not one atomic transaction, during some amount of time, any resolver can accumulate liquidity using any liquidity sources. For example, they can use taxes as liquidity source. They can use cross-chain, like other chains, to get the tokens from these points and bridge them to the limit order, to bridge them to this chain and execute order on that chain. Or they can just use any other liquidity opportunities, like private liquidity pools, for example. All of that is possible using Managed Fusion, because the transaction is not filled atomically, and it's actually open auction, and any resolver can accumulate liquidity. Doesn't matter how they are making that. There is no any specific rule how you need to fill the limit, how you need to fill the Fusion orders in terms of the source of the liquidity. The only requirements are just filled with the specified tokens. So basically, it's also quite important that you can fill the one transaction during multiple times, and multiple resolvers can fill the same transaction. So basically, it's a competition between resolvers for any transaction of the user. So let's see some specific example. I just want to say that currently we do have even more features for the users. Each auction is actually just defined by specific price formula, and this formula depends on the case of the token pair. For example, for the Ethereum DAI, this price formula looks like that. So basically, on the first step, the curve is not going down too fast, because we are trying to find the moment when somebody will try to fill it, because the price is close to the market. And if after that it goes down a bit faster, because we see that during the first minute nobody actually resolved the order, and it looks like the price changed a lot. And so we're trying to allow users to be filled a bit faster. Basically, all these price formulas can be specified for any pair. And right now we are working to design price formulas for most of the popular pairs for the most efficient execution. This is another feature of the Managed Fusion, actually. In future, it will be also possible to specify the price formula for the auction. Currently, it's quite hard to specify it except the default mode. Let's take a look on the whole picture, how actually Managed Fusion works. Basically, there are multiple steps. Again, firstly, you need to actually sign and send order to the network client. Also, you need to make a permit to the limit order contract for the specific amount. After that, you need to register limit order it will be registered on the Vanish network, and it will be sent to the Fusion resolvers. Fusion resolvers will start to fill this order, and when it will be filled through limit order contract and executed on and this assets will be sent to the user. So basically, the only activity that users sometimes need to do on chain is basically send some approves to the contracts of Vanish. That's the only part where it will potentially require user to use on-chain transactions. So in that case, it will be not actually gasless. But I want to say that in most cases, we actually use permit tokens with permit function, and it allows to even make approves of chain as well. So Vanish Fusion also support permit functionality. So there are multiple options how you can work with Fusion. The first one actually is integrate Vanish Fusion into the app, into your wallet, into any project that requires swap token to any other token feature, with opportunity to make it gasless as well. And another option to actually use Vanish Fusion is to become a resolver and execute Vanish Fusion orders on the behalf, as a Vanish resolver. It's a bit more advanced logic. It requires some work. It will be maybe quite hard to make it on the hackathon, but you can actually implement the resolver side as an MVP. For both of these cases, we do have Vanish Fusion SDK, and we do also have a quite good documentation on both cases. And we'll be happy to help you if you have any issues about integrating your Fusion order as an API or becoming a resolver. I want to discuss an opportunity how you can work with Fusion orders using Vanish Fusion SDK, and just make a small live example, how it works. We will try to focus, actually it will be part of Vanish documentation. So most of the code is available at Vanish docs portal. So you can just take a look and copy it to your project. For the current example, we will be working using JavaScript, basically TypeScript at Node.js, but you can actually use any language. It's quite not a lot of logic, basically, for the Vanish Fusion. The SDK is open source, and we do have Rust implementation as well. Basically, you can use it in JavaScript and Rust right now. The more languages are coming soon for the SDK as well. So let's focus on several things. Firstly, let's try to get limit orders. Let's try to basically call multiple functions. The most important functions that we need basically is get quote and send order. So basically, as I told before, for the aggregation protocol, the logic is quite the same. You just need to understand the quote for the specific token pair, for example, for the DAI to wrapped BNB. If the user is okay to swap with this quote, you just basically need to execute the swap. In this case, you need to make an order with the specific parameters that you can get from the quote. And basically, another handle that you will need potentially is just the get limit fusion orders, so you can check that this fusion order was created. Most of these examples, as I told before, are available on our Vanish documentation site. So let's take a look on the basic example how we can actually get a quote of our Vanish Fusion SDK. So here I just make a small tutorial, small 101 for the using Node.js. It's quite easy to install and set up, as I said before. So let's just make a quote to swap 1,000 DAI to wrap BNB, and just take a look what will be the result of that. So let's run it. So we get some answer in this case. Let's just take a look how actually we called Vanish Fusion SDK in this case. So what do we need is basically we first need to set up, we need to install Vanish Fusion SDK using Node.js package. After that, we need just to set up SDK. It's quite simple setup here. So we just specify the URL and the network. In this case, it's a Binance Smart Chain. As I didn't told before, currently we do support Ethereum, Binance, and Polygon blockchains for the Vantage Fusion. So you're welcome to use any of it. But I think for the hackathon, it will be the most suitable case will be Binance, of course. As you can see, the function is quite simple. You just basically need to specify parameters. It's a from token address, to token address, an amount that will be specified in from token address without any precision. So it must be actually a raw amount in way. So I just wrote a small basic wrapper here, and this is the parameters that I specify for using the get quote function. And as I already ran it, let's take a look what was the result of the get quote. So basically, the get quote specify information how it was called, and specify the from token amount that we use. Actually, it was DAI. And if you make a small shortcut, what we need is actually to see the to token amount. This will be the result of the quote for how much wrap BNB will be expected to return during this fusion order. So if you will just divide this and try to get the wrap BNB amount not in the way, it will be about 2.999, like this. There are some additional logic here that actually shows the volumes of USD tokens, the prices of each token in USD, and it also specifies the settlement address for the Vantage Fusion, and it also specifies the recurrent preset for the price auction. If you will be creating the limit or the Fusion SDK order, it will allow you to actually specify the type of the auction that you want to execute. And we do recommend to use the recommended amount as well. In another case, it can be having some issues during the execution. It can take too long, or it can be not in the best price. But it depends on your specific case, of course. You just need to understand that you are doing something for the reason, basically. So let's imagine that we do basically make a get quote. And what we need to do after that, basically we need to create an order. Let's imagine that we are okay to create this limit order. If you want to check how it's implemented on the front end, let's just make a small example. We will go to the vantage.io. We'll launch the D app, and we will try to actually make the same quote. So we'll just use DAI to swap for the wrap BNB and quote for 1,000 DAI. So the price rate will be 2.99342. Right now it's 30. Let's try to make the same quote to see the result. So yeah, we have 30 right now. So the price goes a bit in our turn. It's a bit better right now. So let's imagine that we right now want to continue and we want to create an order. If you want to create an order, basically we need basically several things. Firstly, we do need a Web3 node. Secondly, we do need actually a blockchain provider. It's an interface that we will need to calculate some data for signing the transaction. It's nonce. And we also do need to make a proof for the Vantage router contract before we will be creating the limit order. I will try not to execute all of that step by step right now because it takes a bit time. But in this case, what you will need is basically to specify your private key, your public address, and after that you will need to specify the node that you will be using. You can create your provider connector. And after that, everything you need to do is basically to execute this function. It's place order, where you will specify almost the same parameters as I told before, with additional parameter as wallet address And I do want to remind you that you need to make a proof before you will be executing a place order function, because until you will not get a proof, it will be failing, because it will be impossible to withdraw assets from your address for the execution. So this is the second step when you will be ready to actually to execute, to get it. When you will be ready with the quote, you just basically need to create a place order function and you call it. Or in case of user, it must be called on the behalf of the user, basically. And the second step, what if you will create a limit order? Basically, we will get ID, but if you need to fetch this limit order, you can basically call these functions. It's basically get active orders that will provide all active orders for the Vantage Fusion. And if you want to specify the maker, for example, the address that actually created this order, you can specify it by using this function, like get orders by maker function. So let's try to call these functions right now. So I just make a small limit. So basically, in this case, we just get the first limit order that is active right now, sorted by the date. So it's quite easy to actually to make a pagination and to actually call the all needed limit orders, or just get all of them if you needed that. You can, for example, use this function to show the data for your user interface. If you will try to specify get limit orders by maker, it will be basically quite the same logic. It's quite simple. So in this case, you will try to specify the maker. It will be quite a bit different structure with a bit more details. And as I said before, it's quite the same in terms of calling, just additional parameter. It can be potentially a bit more useful if you need to show it for the user, all the users limit order, all the users fusion orders, for example. So I think basically that's it. What I want to share with you right now. Just want to focus on our links for the documentation. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer any of it.
Hello, guys. Do you have any questions for Nick? I think people need time to digest for your content. I was trying to listen, but I cannot follow up clearly. Yeah.
I just want to remind that, yeah, it's quite difficult actually to get into fusion orders, because if you want to actually start working with the fusion orders, you first need to basically understand what is aggregation protocol, like just the basic concepts. And at the same time, you need to understand the basic concept of the limit order protocol. And only after that, you can actually understand how to combine all of that and using the Vantage Fusion. If you want to have a deep understanding of what is happening, basically it requires a lot of knowledge. But if you want to use only SDK, it's quite simple.
Yeah, there is a question from Chen Hao, I think. Is the limit order storage decentralized?
We do have, actually, it's in terms of the storage right now, we do have only API of the Vantage Labs. Right now, there is a project working on the decentralization of the limit order storage. You're always welcome to help in that case. We are pretty interested in help to get our network more decentralized, specifically in the limit order storage. Currently, we do have a feature that you can actually create any limit order only without using our storage at all, even using the front end. You can use P2P mode and basically share the data of the limit order storage without using the limit order storage. You just share the data of the limit order. So basically, if you'll try to use, for example, limit order smart contracts or limit orders SDK, you can also do anything, whatever you want, and don't use limit order storage at all. All the on-chain part and all the parts that are needed to use limit orders are completely open source and doesn't require any centralized entities.
Yeah, I guess Peter has the similar question.
Yeah, like currently we do have API from the 1inch Labs. And right now, yeah, we are mostly focusing on making it more decentralized. If you will have any solution that will help us to, basically we'll try to make it more P2P, we'll be pretty open for that. And it will be also pretty good nomination for our 1inch grant program. If you will want to continue with that in future.
Okay, I guess if there's no more questions, I think there should be more discussion in the Hackathon Discord group, so we can continue the discussion there, Nick.
Yeah. I just want also to remind, if you have any additional questions, even about 1inch, you can also join our Discord. And we always are monitoring this group, and we'll be ready to help you about any question, any technological question that you have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, guys. Let's welcome Mark from Shorter Finance. Mark, are you able to share your slides here?
I'm going to share my screen, madam.
Sure.
Now I should be sharing. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Mark. I'm from Shorter Finance, from EP Labs. And I'm here to talk basically about the Shorter protocol. What Shorter? Shorter, it's a 100% on-chain auto broker that can support an unlimited amount of tokens. It's a risk-free staking protocol cutting impermanent loss. It's also basically a DeFi protocol that uses Uniswap and Pancake to move all the money. And basically, it's a new system to shore your finance on chain or 100% open source, which means that it will be transparent. You will be able to know where is the money going. There's a constant liquidity driven by the auto markets, so the traders are protected for dramatic spikes. And again, it's 100% on chain and 100% open source. To start talking about Shorter, I think we should start talking about the time-honored stock lending system that actually works with some providers that lend some stocks to a broker, and this broker then lends these stocks to some traders. But you cannot know never if the broker is actually doing what it's called the contract, what it's the contract said, and you don't know exactly what is happening to your stocks. You as a provider cannot actually know what is happening with your money. In Shorter, the provider uses a smart contract facility to lend those coins, those tokens, to traders using a system basically using pools and getting this API to actually being on a 100% on-chain system. You can actually know what is happening with all the tokens that you are lending to the system. This works thanks to the auto broker layer that we have created. That here we can see basically a diagram of how everything works on Shorter. Basically, Shorter works that a provider will lend those some tokens that have no use at this moment that will go to the pools. Here, the traders will be able to borrow those tokens and by a trading system, convert those tokens into a position, a short position that will be stored in a smart contract. Once the short position is ended, either because the price goes down or either because the price goes up or by any reason, in the end, the tokens that were lended will go back to the provider, will go back to the pool, so the provider can recuperate it. And basically, we have the position closed. With this, we can see that we have three key actors in Shorter. We have the provider, the person who lends its tokens to the protocol, to the system, basically filling those pools so everybody can share. They can borrow those tokens to show the positions. The traders who will borrow those same tokens and basically play with them, see if they can make some money out of it. And the rulers. The rulers are actually part of the governance of the protocol, and also they have an arbitrage position inside the protocol. If I, as a trader, create a position that actually doesn't go too well, and in the end I cannot cover all my losses with my position, the rules can come and facilitate that those tokens go back to the pool. That's a system that we'll explain later. Now, what can a provider do in short term? In short term, providers have the capacity to create a pool, which it's really easy to do. We can see here that inside the web, you are marked as a provider. Then you basically go to the open pools and click on create pool, and then you select the token, the leverage, and the expiration date. All of these, it's not finished until the rulers, as the mechanism that as the governance system of the protocol, decide if the pool is gonna be created or not. Either way, you have to spend this fee, this 10,000 APY sorry, to make this attempt. But in the end, the rules will be the ones to decide if your pool will be created or not. It will take an arbitrage governance on arbitrage point. They will discuss it and see if it's something worth created or not. Then, as a provider, you can also deposit or withdraw tokens from a pool. If the pool is created by you, you will get a fee by the fact that you created the pool. But anyone can be a provider using a previous existing pool and deposit the tokens in there. You will then get some fees from every position that is created on that pool, and a percentage of the fees that it's used in the protocol will go to every provider that is actually lending those tokens in a pool. And also, you can withdraw those tokens that you have lended. We can see here that it's really easy. Again, in all the pools that are currently open, you select the one that you feel most comfortable, or the one that you have tokens right now that you're not using. And here you can see that there is a panel that you can deposit or withdraw tokens. If you don't have any tokens in this pool, you will not be able to withdraw anything. And if you don't have tokens on your wallet that will have to be already linked in the application, you will not be able to deposit it because you don't have it. And then you will be able to basically state the amount of tokens that you want to deposit. You confirm the transaction, and then you will have something in a pool. From that deposit, you will be earning some fees. And again, you will be able to withdraw those tokens anytime you want, unless there is some kind of position that is already open in that pool. If there is some open positions in a pool that you have some of your tokens, you will not be able to withdraw them until all the positions are closed, basically. So we have seen what the provider can do, which is basically different forms of staking. You can take all those tokens that you are not using, send them to a pool, and earn money from that. You can earn fees from that because you are actually lending. You are actually using those tokens, and it's in shorter system, in shorter protocol. It's thought it's actually programmed in a way that no matter what, you are gonna get all those tokens back. It's not possible that you are gonna lose any of those tokens if you put them in a pool. It's basically how it works with the action and the arbitrage system of the rules, but I will talk later. But let's talk first with traders. What can traders do in shorter? In shorter, we can, as a trader, we can basically open a position in the same page, we have the, instead of saying I'm a provider, I'm gonna specify that I'm a trader, and then I'm gonna enter in a pool. Here we have the ability to trade. In this case, the pool that we have selected has a plus 10 per 10 leverage. So we're gonna, sorry, let's come back here. We are gonna say we want to trade. We want to borrow one ether. Sorry again. We are gonna go. We want to basically get one ether. It's gonna be basically estimated the margin automatically, and then we are gonna be able to see the position info tab that will actually show us all the information that we need for that position to know what is going on, the price impact, the token provider fee, everything that we have to pay, and everything we have to know to get the position on its place. Then also we can manage all our positions, since instead of the pool tab, we go to the dashboard tab. We will be able to see any positions that we have open at the time. In any position that we have open, we can see here that in my positions, we can go directly to a position that is directly in the dashboard. We have the ability to sell short, to make that position bigger, to actually borrow more tokens from the pool, or to buy to cover. Any one of these transactions are actually really easy to do. We basically have these two tabs, and we just have to specify the amount that we want to borrow to give back to the pool. As we can see here, it's really easy to sell short in a position that we have already open, and to buy to cover anything. So basically here we can also discuss that this is a way to close that position without having to wait any more time. You can, and at any time, buy your position and cover everything, and it will be closed. Now, we have already talked about the provider, the ones who are actually founding all the protocol to create all those pools, the traders who will basically use those tokens to trade, and also by the fees that they pay, give some money back to the provider so they can actually get something in return to everything that they have given. And then we have the rulers. Rulers are the governance system of the protocol. They have the governance power of the protocol, and they have also the arbitrage power, meaning that if at any time there is a position that cannot be liquidated, that cannot be closed by itself, because suddenly the price in the last 20 minutes goes up by 1,000%, or something really horrible happens to the market, we will be able to get some of the money back, basically because the rulers will be able to buy some of that debt. Let's say that basically there is 3 phases on the liquidation process. That it's this arbitrage, the katana, the tanto, sorry, which basically is the rulers that are trying to mitigate this debt, trying to get all this money back to the pool. They will be able to buy token, the amount of token that they can buy to the pool, to the position, basically buying in a DEX, in a decentralized exchange, or in any kind of exchange, and giving that amount of tokens to the position to cover that debt. For example, I have if I have borrowed an Ether and an Ethereum, and suddenly I cannot cover with my margin all the price that have gone up, there can be a ruler that can come and say, I'm gonna buy an Ether, put it on your position, and I'm gonna get part of your margin, and the money I have spent it on this Ether that I have returned to the system. This comes from with a reward of 2% of the amount of money that you have put it. So the ruler will be earning money by basically solving this debt. And also there is then Katana. If no one wants to buy this debt, they will be able to basically with a simple click in the button to make the system to automatically sell or buy back all the tokens that are needed back to the pool with using this decentralized exchange, Uniswap and Pancake. That we will be able to get all that position money to get back all the token that the rules cannot provide, and give it back to the pool, so the providers can get back all the money. That comes from with a 1% of reward, and this is basically almost the worst case scenario. The really worst case scenario is if in a moment that position plus the margin cannot cover in any way the amount of debt in tokens that we have, we then go to Nanigata's phase, which will basically put the position on a legacy state, meaning that this position will not disappear. This money is not lost. This money will be basically put on a state of on a state model on this legacy state, and wait until the money comes back down, so the rulers can go back and buy this debt and actually earn some money from that. In the worst case scenario, if a pool is closed and there is a position that it's never closed, then all the money that was in the position, the original amount of money that was the token worth plus the margin will go to the provider. Someone can actually think that you are losing money, but you are never losing money in the system. What will happen is basically that you will earn less, since this means that that token that you have landed now it's worth 200%, 300% more. I don't know, something really horrible happened to that position and went really off. Then you are not able to sell that token because it's not fair, but you are actually taking back more money than what you have in the moment that the position was created. So it's really a system that will never let you lose money. The worst thing that can happen to a provider is that you earn less that you could, but never to lose. And this is a walkthrough to basically what I explained before about the trader with the how the position is created. Basically, when you create a position, you will be basically depositing a margin, and then take that token from a pool, and that token will be sold. Sorry, using Uniswap. Really will be swapped to token to a stable coin. Sorry, and then with everything in that position will be open. It will be basically a smart contract that will hold in this moment USDT. This is stable coin that we're using right now. That will basically hold the amount of money that was worth the token at the moment, plus the margin that you have put it on the position to actually be able to create that again. So what are the features and capacities of Shorter? You're basically able to yield single-sided token. You have the possibility to stake without having to be pairing tokens. You basically have the possibility to put a token in a pool and get some fees, get something in return. You don't have to do anything else that say, this is my these are the tokens that I'm not using, and I want some money back. Also, since we are basically powered by automated market makers, there is a constant liquidity. There is no problem that there is a moment that there is no money, unless the automatic market maker loses everything. It will continue to work. There is also the fact that it's a physical delivery cross-chain. Allows you to physically deliver in cross-chains the assets. And also, Shorter is completely transparent, meaning that everything that happens in Shorter and everything that happens with your money, you can trace it. Sorry, with what I was talking before, you can farm from Shorter, basically putting your tokens in a pool, and that happens. What I was talking about before, everything is transparent, everything can be traced because it's 100% on chain and 100% open source with auditors and everything to make sure that nothing weird happens. But you can actually go to Scan or Binance Scan to see what's happening in Shorter, and you can trace everything that's happening right now. You can see when token it's taken, when the token is swapped by stable coins, when you position, you can see the fees, you can see the deposit of the margin, you can see actually what is happening every time at any moment with everything when you are shorting with Shorter. Also, Shorter has a lot of ways to get integrated. We have also not only with Solidity and different program languages, you can also be integrated via Discord or Telegram. We have bots that actually integrate your Discord channel to Solidity, to Shorter. And yeah, that's all. I think I went really fast. Is there any kind of questions or anything that needed to be answered? I suppose there is no questions since I don't see anything on the channel. Yeah, that's it. That's how Shorter works. I hope everybody understood everything.
Yeah, Mark, thank you for your time. I think there will be more discussions on the Hackathon Discord. So yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for all the people's time here. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.